and we were the first reserve tank unit to go into Gaza. October 7th, we were punched, we were humiliated. The darkest day of the Jewish people, crossing that border every 2 days at night in a Hummer, in a Jeep. It's petrifying. Our life of Jews in Israel and outside of Israel will always be shaky and unstable. We will always walk on unshaky ground, always. We understood that after October 7th very well. War, real war. If you attack us, we'll defend ourselves. And I think the world is trying to tell us, maybe when you're being punched, maybe when you punch back, if you could just do it a bit softer. I will do whatever it takes and what it needs to protect my people and my country. We are in the business of not taking life, saving life. It's IDF, defense. I feel protected as an Israeli because of the German government and the German people.
You told me you lost friendships. I lost friendships to people who support the government. Will we ever be able to talk to each other?
Yes. War is chara. War is a shit situation. And innocent people die in both sides. I grew up, I told you, in a very mixed house where left and right has respect on the table.
So, Yehuda, first of all, thank you so much for having the time and, giving me the opportunity to talk to you. First of all, tell us who you are, a little bit about yourself.
So, thank you for having me. My name is Yehuda. I'm 38. I live in Tel Aviv for the last 7 years. Grew up in Jerusalem most of my life. Was born in the Upper West Side of Manhattan. And when I was 2, my parents decided to make Aliyah, like you did, and do a modern Lech Lecha, whoever understands what that means, for love of Israel, for giving Israel a chance, and they wanted to have their chapter of the Jewish people and the Israeli story, not from the side and the background, but to be a player on the field. So I'm basically Israeli, but I also grew up with a strong Anglo and understanding of Jewish communities outside of Israel and what it means to be a Zionist Jew outside of Israel. I studied my BA is in political science and communication. I went to yeshiva for a year, which was probably the best year of my life, studying the Jewish book and the Talmud, and being in a place that taught me how to think and ask questions, and not to think that I know everything and that I have the truth. Ma'ale Gilboa, a very special yeshiva. Then I went to the Israeli army, the IDF, and I was in the tanks for 2 years, and then I moved to Chavat HaShomer due to a very bad leg. Chavat HaShomer is a base that helps kids who come from really, really problematic backgrounds. Kids who were in jail, kids from serious poverty, kids who go to the police station every. The IDF gives them an opportunity to be a part of society by coming to the army and cleaning all their background. It's called Chavat HaShomer, and I have to say it was one of the most meaningful things I've done in my life. I finished that. I moved to New York for a year to be a waiter, to pay for my BA. And then I went through various jobs. I worked for a basketball team. But then I was fired.
Very American.
Yeah, but then I was fired because I have a big mouth and a lot of chutzpah. Then I worked for Yoaz Hendel. I was his advisor. I worked at the Knesset for almost 2 years. Is that okay?
Yeah. So we also have something common. I was a German tour guide in the Knesset when I made Aliyah.
Okay. So, and then I shifted around high tech. But lesimchati, for I don't know how to say that in English.
Like for your joy.
Yeah, and because sometimes things do, the cards set up the way you want, and even if you don't know, I was zoche. I found an organization called Peace of Mind, which I've been working there for almost 3 years. Peace of Mind takes soldiers who are in extreme combat situation for a week of therapy and fun in Jewish communities around the world. Canada, America, and England, mostly America. And now we're finding models for the younger guys who fought, who are a bit in a different situation.
Right.
Different models like more nature, more sport. We have 4,000 alumni. I've been doing it for 3 years. I wake up every Sunday thanking, I don't know if God, but I'm thanking someone that I'm able to do such meaningful work. And on October 7th, in a very interesting way, I found myself being called back to war. So I fought for 250 days.
Wow.
And so I'm probably one of the only people in the field that works for an organization where I could be a participant.
Right,
But,
right. So how do you remember, I mean, you know, like I wrote a whole chapter on October 7th in my book. I mean, because we keep Shabbat, like we just heard the sirens and went to the shelter and then went to the synagogue and only like slowly found out like what's going on. How do you remember 7th of October?
So October 7th was just another Simchat Torah. I went to shul. I go to shul. It's important for me. I don't keep Shabbat the classic way, but I have a very traditional life, and it's important for me. So I was in shul, Simchat Torah, and one of the guys said, "You know, they killed 30 people downtown," and I'm like, 30? 30 is a lot, which is crazy if you think about it, because 3 is a lot.
I know.
But we in Israel became so accepted to Jewish blood being spilled, like, you know, and that we accept we expect our enemies to do what they, our neighbors, excuse me. But 30 on Shabbat Chag was, and I continued davening, and from the Siddur, and I remember saying that 30 is down south. זה לא מסתדר לי.
Like it sounds weird, right? Like
yeah, and then I said, fuck it. I'm excuse my language. I went back home. I opened my cell phone because it's usually off on Chag. And then I remember seeing a picture that will stay with me forever. I think is those famous Toyotas, those white trucks in Sderot. And I was like, this is okay.
Different.
And I also saw them a second going, I saw the video of them running, driving in the roundabout. Very easy, laughing, shooting someone who tried to fight them. The whole situation was like, this is different. And then I saw it was already 70. And I'm like, if it's 70, because I know the media a bit, so it's not 70, it's much higher, but you also have to keep the public calm. And I just said, I can't go back to shul. I have to do something. But my friend who calls me up to the army wasn't answering. He's also religious. So I took my bike and I drove to Ichilov. And I think I saw one of the most moving things I've saw in my life. When I got to Ichilov, the hospital, there was a line from where you start giving blood in the reception to the end of the corridor, the stairs, and outside of just people from Tel Aviv wanting to give blood. I'm not talking to you about 40, 50 people. This is hundreds waiting online to give blood. To say, you know, Hineni, what do you need me to do? There's not much I could do. But I'm talking about people who their kids are in their houses now and their babysitter is there and they're waiting online to give blood. It was one of the most moving situations in my life where that's where I know and that's what gives me the strength that I know why we will always overcome It's things like that. It's not more weapons. It's not more tanks, because our enemies have more tanks and more weapons, and we fight much more countries. But bottom line is, October 7th, I found myself in the hospital giving blood. I also said I might being called up every second from now. So I did something a bit Israeli, and I jumped the line. I told the supervisor, like, there's a good chance I'll be called up every second. Like, I knew what's going on. Let me just give blood. So I jumped the line. And while I was giving blood, one of my best friends, who's with me in the army, who brought me back to Miluim, to reserves 3 years earlier, said, Lapian Tagia. Lapian is my family name. Tagia.
You have to come.
Zeh, one word, Tagia. There's no dramatic. And I finished. The Russian achot, the Russian nurse, gave me a hug and a blessing. I remember till today, she spoke in such a bad Hebrew, but she had such a strong heart, and she figured out that I'm going. She asked me, why are you skipping the line? So I said to her, because I might give blood. So she said, beseder, beseder, tishev. Such a, and the way she ran the whole floor was just, and she gave me a blessing, and I took my bike, I put my army uniform, I went to Chabad in front of my house, they gave me a blessing, and I left my house. The first person who I met gave me a ride in his Jeep Mercedes. I gave him my keys so my sister could take care of the apartment. He drove me up here. And then when I got to here, the trains didn't work. And that's, for me, that was my first time I was disappointed for my government, is where the fuck are you? Why are there no trains, buses? It was already late, 5, 6 o'clock.
Right.
איפה אתם? You know, ביחד ננצח, saying slogans in front of a camera is very easy. Where are you?
Yeah.
Why are there trains not going to the south or to the bases? How am I getting now to the base?
Wow.
And this another Russian guy, Sergey, 1.9 meters, meter 90. He is a metachnet, a
Programmer.
yeah, who's been driving people all day long.
Wow.
He said, I'm not in the army anymore. I need to help. And he said to me, where do you need to go? I said, I have a 2 hours drive up north to the base, to where the tanks are. He's like, I'll take you. And he drove fast. We didn't speak too much during the ride. We stopped in a coffee. He bought me, in a gas station, he bought me coffee. I have a picture with him. And I got to the army base. And that's what started my 120 days of being a part of it, 9215, Unit 9215 with my Gdud. And we were the first reserve tank unit to go into Gaza. I think it was 12 days later.
Right.
So for 10 days we were resting, we were taking care of the equipment, being ready to go into Lebanon. As we were going up there, we were called to go in because we had 100% of nochichut, participant, and that's where October 7th taught me. It was always a dissonance between special, amazing Jewish-Israeli moments to being having a heavy heart, a broken heart, being humiliated, understanding already that what they were doing in the party is way worse than what they're showing in the news. Rape, burning people. Like I knew from my friends who were there already. But to answer shortly, October 7th, we were punched, we were humiliated, we were ambushed. The darkest day of the Jewish people and the saddest day mostly, probably the most darkest day of the history of the Jewish people and the state of Israel was also the day that heroes from the people rise and said Hineni. People like Sergei, who was driving, you know, and people in the hospital. I think the darkest day also brought the lightest day, and there were moments that will take me till the end, that I couldn't be more proud to be a Jew who's living in this state of Israel.
Now tell me a little bit like what you experience in Gaza, like the first 120 days. I understood you had then a break and then you went back. How was it? Like how did you cope with the situation? What did you experience there? Also maybe like tell what you can tell about the things that we've been told in the Hamas leading propaganda and what was like the reality on the ground.
So first of all, nothing prepares you to, at the age of 36, to put on uniform, guns, and to cross the border into hell. Nothing. I mean, I wasn't anymore a classic combat soldier who's staying all the time there and fighting them, but I was in charge with a few other people on the logistic combat shayarot. Every 2 days we go into where the unit is and we give them supplies of ammunition, food, socks, new clothes, letters from their house, if we're creative, from their kids. Some of these people haven't seen their family for months. So I was in charge of the logistical aspect, but crossing that border every 2 days at night in a Hummer, in a Jeep, it's petrifying. And I understand that there are people who don't feel that, but for me, it was very scary. You have to, you're driving in routes where 2 days before, a different unit who's doing the same thing went over a mitan, a bomb, and four guys
grenade, right?
No, mitan, a bomb
like
that was hidden. Yeah, and four soldiers were burnt alive. And you're going to the same route. In one of our entries, before going in, we were attacked by a drone, a serious drone, and 3 guys were wounded, and I was able to take care of one of them. When I got to him, he was full of shrapnels, bleeding. War, real war. Save a Private Ryan shit, you know, stuff you see not in the same. But to answer your question, it's between you and yourself. You have to overcome fear. But it was easy for me to overcome the fear, not to go in, because I had the history of my grandmother who survived the camps, my grandfather who survived the camps and was able to go out of the camps and continue singing Lecha Dodi and then building a country and moving here eventually. On my left I had, you know, Michael and Gabriel. I felt that I had my Miriam Peretz, and who lost 2 of her soldiers, and Eliasaf, a hero who lost 2 of his brothers and was also fighting. I felt that I was carrying with me my history of my grandmother. On my left it was my Jewish identity. On my right is those brave soldiers who gave everything for me to go in, because my grandmother didn't have the opportunity to protect herself, you know? And on my front is me saying, I will do whatever it takes and what it needs to protect my people and my country. And I'll do it 1,000 times more, and I'll do it in Gaza, I'll do it in Lebanon, I'll do it wherever they need, whenever they need, because we're fighting something way bigger than IDF in Gaza. We are fighting a worldwide monster, a cult that is being led by, let's say there are 1 billion Muslims in the world, so 150 million of them are trying to convince the world that Islam is a peaceful religion, and we have to stop calling it radical Islam, because there are millions in the world who want to turn every pub into a mosque, and they'll destroy every value of democracy. And Israel is just the beginning. Osama bin Laden was a multi-millionaire when he took 2 planes and burnt alive 3,000 people. He wasn't poor, he wasn't devastated, he wasn't treated as a kid. He was a multi-millionaire, and in the name of Islam, he burnt 3,000 people alive. The same goes to the Charlie Hebdo in France. Someone dared to draw a pig of their prophet, and they shot him in his head. And then there was the terrorist attack with 90 people in Paris, where they shot 90 people in the name of Allah. So when they do it in Israel, they're freedom fighters. It's complicated. Hamas is not really a terrorist organization. Now we saw that CNN or BBC said that one of the reporters made a mistake by calling Hamas a terrorist organization. Yehudit, we are fighting something so bigger than what's going on in Israel. And the average American and the average German, and I would think that the average English person, will understand that. I think there are countries in Europe who are gone, because Douglas Murray said that most people prefer putting their head in the hole and saying, the jungle is a nice place for me and I could manage, and they're not monsters. I felt seeing their houses, these Hamas people, and seeing the propaganda in their houses of kids of little rooms, seeing Mein Kampf, and seeing Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, London, Berlin, New York, with mosques like a map, saying, Alhamdulillah, one day we will take it all. And they're saying it. And that's what I was fighting when I was looking ahead. Something way, I'll be cocky, and said I felt like in Band of Brothers, did you see the show? I felt like the American soldiers who were fighting the evil in 1945 and saved the world. I felt like we are a group of Band of Brothers, Israeli Band of Brothers, trying to fight evil that has no one in history had. Even in 1945, I think there were things that these people have been doing, and that's what I felt I was fighting. And every time I went in, I saw a video from the horror videos to remind me what I'm fighting. And it's a combination of being petrified, and that's the truth, because I'm no Viking, I'm not the best warrior. We had a MP, a platoon commander, Misyuk. I think I'm not sure if he's from Ukraine or from Russia. Jesus, what a brave soldier. The way Misyuk talked to his soldiers before going in, and Gonen and Guy is my platoon, vice platoon commander. They gave me strength. Being with Yoav and Neta, the drivers. I had a driver with me, Amit, and Uday, who's Druze, and Kostya, Russian, Druze, Bedouins, secular Israelis, Mesorati, and with me, I remember asking once Amit, aren't you afraid to going into Gaza? You're a truck driver in the Ezrachut, in civilian life. You're driving now a Hummer into Gaza. אמר לי, יהודה, אני מפחד, ולכן אני לוחץ על הגז עוד יותר. Said, I'm afraid, but I'll
push even faster.
This driver is giving me strength. So
Wow.
I think, to be honest, is a rare combination of being afraid, acknowledging it, overcoming it, and being very focused to what the mission is. And my mission was to come and give those brave soldiers who if they come here, if you see them now, I'll kiss their legs. These brave people who were there the whole time, and to make them smile, and to give them cold water, and to give them food, so they could do what I can't, and really fight those monsters every day and every night.
What did you see regarding, how, let's say, like, did you experience anything that we heard? There were like anonymous interviews about, I asked a few other soldiers that I know about that they deliberately target civilians, or that no, like Hamas is not stealing food, all of that. And I feel like a lot of us know that it's not the case, not like the regular case. But on the other hand, so this is the first part of the question, and the second part is, obviously, in any army, there are like idiots. You will never have an army, doesn't matter how amazing the people are, that don't do mistakes or are not, like doing some stupid stuff. What did you experience from that?
I'll start with the second question. No one is perfect. No individual, no country, no army, no one. And there's a interesting way of the world to criticize us. And I'll say something, and I stand behind it 100%. On one hand, the IDF is not perfect, but if we were any other army in the world, we would finish the war in 5 minutes, not in 2 years. And people could mock it, people could make fun of it. People could say around the world that the Israelis think that the IDF is the most moral army in the world. It is. It is. I met the best people I ever met, easy. The most moral people I met, the kindest. I'm reminding you, we're not even professional soldiers. Most of us are doctors, lawyers, truck drivers, teachers, simple people who are leading a simple life and would love to go back to their family. And before they go in, they're taking videos of their kids before Shabbat. How many combat soldiers are well, they're good people. My commanders, Yotam, Gonen, Guy, Evia, their commanders, they always say that we will fight back 100% and we will attack, but we are in the business of not taking life, saving life. It's IDF, defense. Sometimes it's annoying. We're Israel Defense Forces. Let us be, but if you attack us, we'll defend ourselves. And I think the world is trying to tell us, maybe when you're being punched, maybe when you punch back, if you could just do it a bit softer or from a different angle, because you're actually succeeding. 48, 49, 33 countries gave us a country. The UN, who lost their way and they lost their identity, they gave us a country. We didn't take it from anyone. The next day we were attacked. 67, 73, the Israeli wars, 85, bomb attacks. The second Corona was done, they started shooting on us, missiles.
Right.
So everyone else could attack. America could do Nagasaki, Hiroshima, Afghanistan, Vietnam. Germany could take over the world. England could be an empire worldwide. The Chinese could do whatever they want to Taiwan. Oh, it's good. But Israel, how dare you fight back? How dare you be succeeding? Why are you still standing on your feet? And it's crazy. No matter how many terrorist attacks are becoming, no matter how many prophets are sitting in podcasts like us and saying in German, in English, in perfect UK accent, we will turn every pub into a mosque because beer is not allowed. We will stop with this whole drinking alcohol in the evening. That's not what being a person means. They're saying it. I have nothing against people being proud of their religion. I have nothing against the average Muslim. But it's unbelievable to see how we're doing our best to try to stay alive. Less than 100 years after they almost annihilated our people. They always find a different way to say, we don't want you here. And that's why the state of Israel is so important.
Right. And what did you experience? Like for the first part, like what did you experience regarding all of this fake news that we target civilians, we do that, we do. Hamas is not stealing food. Did you experience any of that? Because my friend who was a commander and was also a reservist in Gaza, he said no way, when this the Gaza humanitarian organization started providing food, and you remember this whole campaign where they said they are shooting people waiting for the food. He said, no way, not even possible that any commander that I know in the IDF would ever tell to shoot people waiting for food.
That goes back to what we just spoke about no matter what we do, they'll always find something, and fake news is a wonderful way to share the world that instead of being proud of us and learning from us, they're mocking us and saying how awful we are. I'm done your shirt. I will never apologize for being Israeli ever again. I'm there, and I'm done apologizing for being an IDF soldier, and I'm done being apologizing for being a Jew in the Israeli army. People who know us, people who have been here, people who get it, like Charlie Kirk, may he rest in peace, like Ben Shapiro, like many good Americans and some good Germans, they get exactly what's going on. If people want to walk in the street with a mask and saying Free Palestine and what they're doing there, some of them have never been here. There's no genocide. It's made up. War is chara. War is a shit situation, and innocent people die in both sides. But and I'll say it again and again and again in every platform, I couldn't be more proud, and I don't think I'll ever do something as meaningful and powerful like serving in the Israeli army, the IDF, with such good people against such evil. And I think we're the only fucking country in the world who, while we're fighting people who are mostly want us in the sea, we have to send 75 trucks. I have a video of 75 trucks full of food going and giving it to them. Why are we responsible of our enemies? Did other armies do it? Because the whole world has their eyes on us to say, oh look, first it was the hospital. Look, they bombed the hospital. And then after a few days, oh, we're sorry, it wasn't the hospital. Then all eyes on Rafah. Then it's you're starving them. Then it's genocide. They're lying. And I'll never forgive. I expect our neighbors and radical Islam to do what they do. I grew up with it my whole life. It's the same Osama bin Laden, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. It's just a different version. But the way the world Yehudit has reacted since is something I will never forget. I will always remember. That's the real betrayal for me, and I'm still optimistic, and that's why we're doing this. Because if there's one person who's listening to your podcast, which I hope many, many people will listen to, if there's one person who listens to us and one believes me, one, that We are not doing no genocide. We're not starving. Those pictures are fake. It's a disgrace for intellectual honesty. And like Charlie said, there's not even a debate. Oh, the IDF, they're the name of the evil. Genocide. Bullshit. Lying. Again and again. And whoever dares to say something against is fired, is mocked, is shamed. So fuck you. I'm done. Like your shirt says, I'm done. I'm done. I'm going to protect my borders. I'll do my best. But I'm done caring about what the average European is thinking about me. Does that make sense?
Well, I have a little bit. I have a little bit different opinion about but it's like an interview with you, not with me.
No, we're both in it together. You have your family here. You're raising your kids here. We're in it equally.
No, I'm careful because you come like more from the conservative like political spectrum, which is fine. We can disagree with certain points. I think it's also we have to be careful. Because also people like Trump, like Netanyahu, and also the far right, let's say in Germany, they are also, I believe, a big threat for Jews because, you know, like they're doing like, oh, a little bit of fascism, a little bit more, a little bit more. This is why I believe we have like threats from both sides. We have like the far left and the Islamists, but we also have the far right, who is, to be true, they're very anti-Semitic, but they're kind of like trying to hide it in sometimes in their support for Israel. So I'm careful, like with those people like Charlie Kirk. I agree with you that, or agree with people saying like, of course, no violence. Like there's not even a point where just because someone is saying radical things, you can just go and shoot him. Like what kind of world is it? We still have to talk to each other. But like so yesterday, like someone posted that he said that abortion is worse than Holocaust. You know, like, you know, it's that's like too much for me. But it's fine. You still no one is allowed to harm him. You know, even if he's saying like sometimes radical things, no one is allowed to harm him in any way, any physical way.
I understand what you're saying, and it's a different topic, but I could say that it says in Kohelet, I think it's Ecclesiastics, there's a time for peace and there's a time for war, and now it's time for war for the Jewish people, not just in the state of Israel, for the Jewish kids in the campuses who are being locked in a room by a mob. It's a time where the most prestige university in the world, Harvard, that their logo is Veritas, which means truth. I change it to lie. Where Jewish kids are walking now in campuses and are being intimidated for their 100%. Judaism. This is a time to fight with words, fight back, and not let people bully you in the name of liberal kumbaya, fake, because most of these left, and I have a lot of respect. I grew up, I told you, in a very mixed house where left and right has respect on the table. Every Friday night after Shabbat dinner, we had the left paper, Haaretz, we had the right paper, Makor Rishon, we had Yediot. We were taught to understand and respect everything. But this is no time now for us feeling bad because of people sitting with their red wine or drinking their, what's it called, that Gewürztraminer in the street or in London, saying, oh, the Israelis are so bad. You've been saying
I agree
it,
with you.
and now we need tools to fight people who, after we, not Iran, Lebanon, Syria, the people from in here, Hamas, are going to destroy us. Maybe the world will be sad for a week. They'll say, oh, maybe we went too far, and then they'll continue with their next. We have to
definitely.
fight.
Germany, I mean, German university is is not, probably it's a little bit better situation, but it's not good. Like also in Germany and universities, the Jewish students are like scared to be on campus, especially if people know they're Jewish. But like going into this, like just very briefly, you are also openly critical about the current government, Israeli government. Can you elaborate just a few words on that?
Yes. It's a tough one for me because my government, and I grew up, I'm very centered to the right, but the lack of leadership of my government, which I voted for many times, most of my life, their lack of leadership and what they're doing mostly inside, between us, is something that I am ashamed of. This was their time to shine. This was their time to keep us strong. This was their time to be a real leader. When everyone here is walking with their heart broken after October 7th, you know what I'm talking about. I don't think anyone who doesn't live here, maybe Jews around the world, but they'll never understand what we had here after October 7th. Instead of uniting us, instead of supporting us, instead of keeping us optimistic, strong, they waited maybe a few weeks and then they started with their low-level politics, with their disgusting behavior against our Ramatkal, Herzi Halevi, celebrating in different events while soldiers were being killed. I couldn't be more ashamed of my government. I respect my leaders, if they're from the right, from the left. I expected much more of them. And hopefully one day these people will leave and they will have to be with themselves for lives in front of their mirror, if they even have a sense of self-criticism. But I think the majority of the state of Israel will always carry with themselves your behavior and your lack of leadership after October 7th. And like I said, I'm much more centered to the right. I'm ashamed of the people who are sitting in some of those positions. Some of them are great. I see Chili Trupel, and there are a lot of things they did do, and you have to give them credit. I don't think Benjamin Netanyahu is just bad and just like people say here. But I think it's time for him to leave. I think he's done enough. I think there were amazing leaders before him, they'll be after him. What happened to the party of Menachem Begin, who I grew up idolizing, is a group of people who couldn't care less except their chair, and I'm ashamed, and that's the truth. And if
but
my
you think
friends,
we can actually come back together? Because I mean, I'm from a, you know, like I think it's amazing that we can talk and agree and disagree with each other, because I come from let's say like center left politically, but I don't know, like a lot of people from different like political you know, opinions, they don't know, they feel like very depressed right now if we will ever be able to talk to each other like we are doing now. I mean, some people are still able to do that, but many are not. And you know that, you told me you lost friendships, I lost friendships to people who support the government. Will we ever be able to talk to each other?
yes, you know our anthem.
Yes.
What's the word?
The hope.
Atikva.
Yeah.
Hope. If you took my grandparents who were taken from out their house in Poland, and you would say to them that we have a state, we have an anthem, we have an army, we have a government, let's put aside this specific government, but in general, that we have a democracy, that people are trying to destroy us and we're fighting back. See these brave guys, because of them. We have universities, we have hospitals, we have an airport. We're drinking coffee in this beautiful cafe.
In the German colony?
You think, yes, you think that all these people who survived the war and came to Israel and built a country were the day after we had a country, we were attacked. You think they weren't scared that this thing will collapse in a second? Same goes to 67, same goes to 73, same goes to 85. The answer to your question is 100% yes.
Okay.
We will overcome this. We will...
How will we overcome the trauma?
That's a different question, and we could answer that in a second. But the good that this people has here, in the left and in the wing and in the right, the people I met in my unit, everyone, the high-tech person, the truck driver, the guy who, when we were attacked, took his hand and said, Shema Israel. This is to me, the guy who doesn't believe in God at all. There's so much good here. Kibbutz Galuyot. We came from all over to build a country, to protect ourselves, and not just to have a country for survival, but a country of thriving and doing good in the world. And not just high-tech in these buildings. Look at what we built here in 60 years. 100%. And whoever has doubts, I understand it. But A, we are not going anywhere. B, I love to talk about the Fiddler on the Roof. It's my favorite play.
I love it.
When people say to me, especially people from Europe or America who are not Jews, who've never been here, how are you so optimistic? So I'm not realistic, and I'm waking up and thinking, Akol beseder, my heart is broken.
Right.
I went to Har Herzl too many times, but our life of Jews in Israel and outside of Israel will always be shaky and unstable. We will always walk on unshaky ground, always. We understood that after October 7th very well, but we will continue to sing Lecha Dodi before Friday night and to sing our anthem Hatikva, and we were not just going to survive, we're going to smile, celebrate our identity, not hide it, and be proud of who we are. Just like the Fiddler on the Roof is walking on shaky grounds and still playing music, that's every Jew in this country since October 7th is doing it, and also many of our Jewish friends and brothers and sisters around the world, and even our non-Jewish allies from the Christian world, and people who care about us, and look at not just Charlie, Carolina, who's standing there week after week and doing what she's doing and what you're doing and what many other people. That's why, Yehudit, I have hope. That's why I have hope that we will continue. That's why I hope we're going to win. And talking about trauma, we have a lot of work to do. And that's why I'm in peace of mind, but we'll get there.
And maybe your final kind of sentence for the German audience, for the German public. It's not, I know a lot of Israelis say, well, Germany, they're amazing, they're supporting us. There are, as I said, a lot of also difficulties. We have the growing far right, who some people call like Nazi, new Nazi party. And we have the far left, who is allying with the radical Islamists and threatening Jews on streets and universities. But I also feel, when talking to you, that you see still also hope for Germany.
I'll start with a personal note. I'm not sure if I should say it to the camera, but I don't speak German, but I want to say, Ich liebe Deutschland und das deutsche Volk. Here inside, Yuda, me, after being in Hamburg, Frankfurt, München, Berlin, all over, many times, after being with my father doing the Feuchtel, the Stoppelsteine.
Stolpersteine.
After spending many Shabbatot in Berlin, meeting my father's friend Carsten from Deutsche Welle, meeting so many good German people, speaking to them the same way we're doing now. I think that the Germans need to look inside and to feel proud of who they are as a country. I think they could raise their flag and be proud. We, as an Israeli army, have now 5 submarines that are protecting us because of Germany. I feel protected as an Israeli because of the German government and the German people. And when I walk on Shabbat, maybe now less, but in general, when I'm walking on Shabbat in Berlin, near the Great Synagogue in the Stevinia-Strasse, I love that place. I get smiles and people stop me and say, we love you. I wish I could have videoed it. Yes, some of them don't like us. And yes, I feel that radical Islam is doing their damage there. But I feel that the German people since the 50s gave us a hand and asked for forgiveness. I think that there's an amount of aid that help us build a country. I think that we are more protected because of the Germans. We did a collaboration. Peace of Mind did a collaboration between the German police and Israeli soldiers. They welcomed us into their base with warmth, and I feel very similar to the way I feel when I'm walking in Upper West Side Manhattan, or in Englewood, or in Miami Beach with my friend Sachi Beitner, who's a dear friend of mine. I feel in Germany, when I go to visit my friends, I feel protected, I feel safe, and I need the German people to wake up and feel proud, strong, because they are not just another country, they could lead Europe. And together with America, I feel that they could lead the world with normal, strong values. And I love being there, I love having fun there, I love drinking a red wine and a pizza in the streets there. I love meeting different Germans, Jews and not Jews. And I think, and I'll finish with that Germany has such an important role in the next few years as a leader, because parts of Europe I think are gone. And I know it's a dramatic statement, but when I speak to the average person in a specific country, I feel they're gone. I feel they're brainwashed, and I think the Germans understand something that other people do. And I'm looking forward to going back to America soon, and also to Germany. I'm supposed to go to Berlin. And if you're German and you've never been here, come, meet us, spend Shabbat with us. You will see things that are not in the media, and please see us. We need you, and that's my message to the German people. And through Peace of Mind, which hopefully we'll be doing more collaborations with them, because we are in trauma, and there's a lot of work to do.
Thank you so much, Yehuda. Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you for your time and for sharing your view and your experience and everything. Thank you.
You're welcome.